Oklahoma's volunteer cold case task force claims it's sitting on a hotbed of explosive new evidence.
You have 4 DNA tests out on Dena.
And inching closer to solving the 20-year mystery of what happened to 16-year-old Dena Dean.
So whoever killed her should be shaking in their boots right now.
I would be, with this crowd chasing me.
It's a crowd of 22 retired but highly skilled investigators. They've been chasing Dena's killer, and now they're telling Crime Watch Daily they have evidence and eyewitnesses to prove Dena's boyfriend, Michael Converse, who she'd went to meet that night, may have been involved. The task force claiming he asked Dena to meet him in this parking lot once she told him she was carrying his baby.
Do you feel that Dena telling her boyfriend she was pregnant was the trigger and the downfall?
That's the most definite, alarming moment prior to her death that could have put some things in motion.
But investigators say when Dena arrived to tell Michael she wasn't really pregnant, he wasn't alone. The cold case task force claims Michael's father, Minister Robert Converse, was also waiting.
Mike, I understand, probably called his daddy and said, the girl that accused me of getting her pregnant's here at the store, and Daddy showed up.
Daddy was a preacher, so he thinks that he's above the law and that God's not going to let anything happen to him.
Doesn't sound like a preacher.
No, it does not sound like a preacher to me.
What might have been the motive to kill Dena?
The motive to kill Dena was the fact that she was pregnant. They thought she was, and wasn't ready for that.
Michael and his father have been named persons of interest, but both have repeatedly maintained their innocence for the past 20 years. Their fingerprints were not found at the crime scene, but the task force claims there's a new way to look at the old evidence.
This is about where her body was found.
And now they believe new technology could help find Dena's killer.
So almost 20 years ago, investigators gathered evidence here, and you still have that evidence?
The sheriff's office does, yes, ma'am.
The retired investigators rerun the old evidence. One of the new tools is called familial DNA, and when they retest the DNA at the scene, they get a hit. It's not Michael Converse or his father, but it is a member of the Converse family.
You also, in this cold case, uncovered that another person of interest is the uncle of the boyfriend.
Yes, ma'am.
Investigators now believe the minister's brother, Stephen Converse, is somehow involved. He's never been charged with anything in connection to Dena's death, but deputies did serve a search warrant to get a sample of Stephen's DNA. When they showed up to collect that sample, deputies claimed Stephen made what they call, quote, a spontaneous utterance.
There's a term in the law called res gestae, which means a spontaneous utterance. And the uncle said something that we were really happy to hear.
It was very revealing, but you can't reveal what it was.
I'm not going to tell you what it was, but it was really good.
How does the uncle come into play?
We have developed witnesses who have said that the uncle was complicit in the abduction and death of Dena Dean.
We tried to reach Stephen Converse for comment, but could not find him. Investigators say the old evidence could also reveal a whole new clue as to who dumped Dena in that field. They believe retesting Dena's clothes with brand new technology could reveal 20-year-old fingerprints.
Do you still have Dena's clothing?
Yes, ma'am. That's a wow.
So, because whoever put her body there,
yes, ma'am.
Their hands, if they didn't have on gloves, which likely they didn't.
Yes, ma'am. It's gigantic.
All 3 Converse men continue to maintain they had nothing to do with Dena's disappearance or her death. But we wanted to give them an opportunity to tell their side of the story.
Right now, we're here at the home of Michael Converse to see if he wants to respond to the serious allegations against him from the family and where investigators say the evidence is pointing.
Michael Converse didn't answer, so we headed to Minister Robert Converse's house. But as we turned onto his street, we were stopped dead in our tracks. We're here in the neighborhood of Robert Converse. We were going to his home to try to talk to him about what he knows regarding Dena's murder when the sheriff's department interceded and asked us to retreat so that they could serve a search warrant. It turns out, shortly after our interview with the Cold Case Task Force, Tulsa County Sheriff's deputies headed to Robert Converse's house with a brand new DNA search warrant.
Sounds to me like balls are in motion.
We've met with the DA. We're positioning ourselves to ready this for prosecution. So we are marching downfield, and we're getting ourselves prepared for success.
Do you believe this case will be solved?
I feel really strong that this is going to see the inside of a courtroom.
For now, Diana and Larry wait for the day they finally get justice for their little girl.
If you could say something to the person or persons who took your daughter off this earth, what would that be?
Look over your shoulder. I am a believer in what goes around comes around. And I am a believer that what you do to others will be done to you.
What keeps you going 20 years later?
I'm seeking justice, and that's all.
What does justice look like to you, Dad?
I just want to hear that judge say guilty, and then it's all gone. The pressure, the sadness, everything's over with. Yes, I'm still gonna remember Dena. I'm still gonna put the flowers out at the cemetery, but that 20 years of fighting will be over with.
Detectives tell us they're still waiting on a few key tests to come back, but believe an arrest or several arrests are near. They want everyone to know if you have any information about Dena's murder, now is the time to talk, because anyone who knew something but kept it secret could possibly face charges. I'm Chris Hansen. If you like this story, make sure you tune in every day to Crime Watch Daily. You can find where the show airs in your city at crimewatchdaily.com. Watch it live or record it on your DVR and watch it at night. And to all those criminals out there, remember, we are watching.